welcome back. For those of you that weren't tuned in for the last 15 minutes of nonsense. This was Sculpin week, month, and so we had, we had a lot of Sculpin come in, especially in the adult. We had 34, I think, and we had a lot of diversity to these things. Same with the kids side. Same old story. Every time I do this, man, this is impossible. This one wasn't quite as hard. This one was, there was some pretty good standouts in both categories that just really, but the overall quality, not a bad fly, and the whole thing. I mean, it's just like, it just keeps, A-game just keeps going up for everybody. And so this one's kind of back to the old before when we didn't have, we had some pretty clear cut, but the first seconds were like really pushing this thing. So we're going to go through this and go through the youth first. And there's a couple things. Some of the flies in both categories were a little bit on the edge if they were sculpin-y, which some of them were really well tied, but yet maybe not quite sculpin-ish, where we wanted it. But that, it's a little bit subjective. So, but that was some of the criteria. It is a sculpin. So some of the ones that were pretty clean and pretty good could have been in there, weren't like quite sculpin-ish enough. So anyway, I'm going to go through this. I'm going to go through the youth first, and these things they're all, again, it's the same old thing. They were all these flies. Turn around so you can see them, and the guys will take pictures of these when we're done and get them so you can see close-ups. But as you can see, there's a feather for me. They're really nice. A couple of these were just absolutely stunning. One of the comments was to name every single fly in here as we go and who tied it. There's no way I can do that. It'd just take us too long to do it, and besides, I would murder everybody's name. But there's a couple in here that were really close. There's one, a couple of them that were just, there's no way these can be kids. There's just no way. It can't be, but they are. And so they're just frighteningly good. And so third place in this one, hold on to get there, is Justin Hardie. That's number 4. Get right here. And this was the fly. This is a super simple little fly. Just a super simple little sculpin. Really not complex at all, but everybody here that looked at it, looked down, goes, they wanted to fish that fly, right? What's wrong? Shook your head. You got a fly in your ear?
No.
Okay, so this fly right here, and of all the flies, including the adult, this is the fly that I said, if I'm going to take one out and fish it, it's going to be this little tiny sculpin. It's super simple, nothing complex about it. Just really cool little stacks on the back. It's got marabou on the back. A beautiful blend is the body. The pecks are nice. The tail's nice. Everything. It was just a clean little fly. Second place in this is hey, there's a dog. Let me get to that. Number 12 is Brayto Thelen, I think it is. Number 12, where to go? This one is an incredible, get right here. It's just dungeon-ish type thing. Absolutely, the hair work on this is as good as any adult has ever submitted to us, ever. That hair work is absolutely stunning. Really cool blend in the body where he's got the UV dubbing that's kind of wisped through it, really, really clean. And first place was Harvey. Anna's 12. And this fly, it's a game changer, really clean. It's upside down, so hook up, really clean, perfect headset, everything on it. Really close. These first and second, these were really, really close. Perfect heads. We counted the thread wraps on each of the articulations, and it was just really super, super clean. So, like I said, all these flies, everyone in here is incredibly fishable. Everyone's really well done. That's the top 3.
What did they win, boss?
Oh yeah, the youth top. Well, I was gonna get to that when we're all done. We'll do it again though. But first place in this, $150. Second place 100, and third place is 75. And everybody in the group gets a $25 gift certificate. So, set you over there for a second. Now we're going to go into the figure category here. This is the adult category, and there in this category, we had some issues back and forth rather. We kind of had, I think first and second place was splitting, going up and down. It was just one vote on that one. We had virtually every fly in this thing had something really cool about it, and some of them, we went back and forth, and and just so you know, when we go through this, we don't just look at it and say, oh yeah, really clean. We once you look at it, then we start pulling everything back and looking at the number of thread wraps on your articulation, or can we see anything that's hiding underneath stuff. So because it's just so painstaking to judge people's flies, because when you look at this thing and you look at the up close, there's really nothing. There's not one fly in here that isn't really, really good, and a lot of them are super original. And so that's what we got down to when we get to the, like, if it's at a dungeon, is it a game changer? I think we had 10 or almost 25% game changers of some sort, which is cool. And so it's just how we got down to it. So, and then in the third place, when we started with that, they were so close. There's some that, and again, just like that youth fly, there's this little flat wing sculpin in here that is one of those ones where it's just so simple but it's so clean. And that's another one that I'm going to take this fly and go fish it. You'll never know unless I catch a really big fish, and I'll tell you. But there's just a bunch of them in here like that are just beckon to go fish, right? And so, and for that idiot that wrote in that said I was going to be stealing your flies, you'll already have seen these flies, and so there's no way for me to go steal them, you moron. I mean, who would say that? So anyway, third place, number 32. This is, upside down, Tyler Powell's. Was this the guy that drove down?
Which one?
The kid that drove down.
He
was late, drove down here for 5 hours to deliver his fly. This fly is super clean. This fly, you've got to turn it upside down to see what won this fly. The blends underneath here, just everything, the angel hair work, the blends of the material on top, proportions when you see it. When this fly gets wet, you could just see that it was going to come together and point out exactly how it's supposed to. It's a small fly, not super complicated, but super clean. Like everything in there. There was a point in this fly at the back in the tail when I was looking for something to judge on it, and I said, man, he's got a bunch of, and I was just kind of glancing. He's got a bunch of thread, really thick thread, and then I realized, I got my glasses on and looked, he dubbed, and then he had this perfect head in front of it, and that was going to be its deduction until I got the bigger glasses on. And then we got to first and second. And first and second, how close can we get on this? First and second came down to 2 flies, and this is where we got in trouble. On these 2 flies, we were split. And I mean, for almost 2 hours, we were split. And going back and forth. And so there was an originality thing on this fly over here. And then there's this game changer, but it's kind of original where the stacks are. It was just incredible. But when we got down to the very end, this one's one where it was just the fourth vote came in, and it was for the winner. So second place is Tom Gingerich's Sculpin here. Totally unique. This one, this fly, Tom has had lots of flies in here. And at the end of this, I'm going to bring up a different one. Tom is one of the most unique tires. This is 2 materials. It's pheasant and fox, and it's the blends on this fly are so incredible. All of his flies are, and it's original. And then we got down, and it was just picking picking, and we can't find anything wrong with either fly. And so, but Tom's just, when you look at this, and I'm going to compare them when you look at them side by side. This fly is one of the most eloquent flies I've ever seen in my life. It's just one of those things. It was so hard when we got down to this. It's going to throw profile when it gets wet. It's going to taper down. Totally original. Very cool. This is one of my favorite flies to come down as far as originality it goes. But then we got to Jason's Kloess's Game Changer, and I'm Blaine's a buddy of mine, and I haven't tied a lot of these flies, and so, and I don't, and I've seen a lot of them, but I haven't seen all the variations. I mean, hell, there's like I said, there's at least 10 of those are Game Changers in here. This fly, to me, though, I have seldom seen in my life, and I mean ever. I've seen very few flies that were as perfectly proportioned as this fly is. And these stacks, everything's a double stack on the hen feathers and the pectorals. But when you look at this thing, no matter how we looked at it, from the tail, everything's a double. But when you looked at this thing from the tail down and you see the blend, the color blend and the overall shape of this fly, I don't think personally I've ever seen a cleaner fly in my life. The proportions on this thing were absolutely stunning, and it didn't matter from top or bottom. No matter where I tried to find something with this fly, I couldn't find anything. I mean, it was just, but when I look at it, there's just something, the proportions are freak show. It is just, when you look at the head, when you look down on it, you start looking at the collar and where everything blends, and then you bring that color scheme into it. This is one of the cleanest flies I've ever seen in my life. So that's Jason Kloess's, and that's number one. Tom, and these two, and this was a tight one because this one's so original, and if you look at the shapes on this, man, this one was tough on me. This is the two I spent an hour on, digging through their flies, peeling their stuff backwards to see if one of them had a bad wrap underneath there that they're hiding. Perfect. Both flies are perfect. It just came down to the very end was just, I just have never seen a proportioned fly quite that perfect in my life. When you figure there's 6 different steps in there, man, that's pretty incredible. So, first place on this, first place is an Echo Trout rod. What did we do? We did a Streamer X on this. Yeah. Streamer X on this rod. I got to read all this stuff. And a line. Whiting, number 2 is a Silver Cape and a $150 gift certificate. Number 3 is an MFC boat box or guideline sunglasses and a $75 gift certificate. And so, and these, I just to kind of plug these guys, all these sponsors are giving, Echo's giving us these rods. This is really cool, these companies. Whiting's giving out the stuff, MFC. MFC is going to be the grand prize winner, which we're going to do next week. So do we have, the grand prize is going to be, we have a rod, a reel, and whoever, if the fly is an original and it can be submitted, you're going to go into some national tire. And then several of the youth are going to be, the top 3 are going to be featured as tires, up and coming tires. And we don't know who's going to win, obviously, so we're going to go with that. But at any rate, that's going to be next week, the grand prize. There'll be, and then we're going to give out a whole bunch, as always. We'll get libations going, and we're going to give out prizes. The fun prizes for some of the unique stuff that showed up. And I'm going to do a new one this year, too. I'm going to do Kelly's Most Wanted to Fish, and we're going to do a bunch of them. It's going to be really fun. Johnny will have his input, and Jeremy under which categories, but it's going to be a hoot. So we're going to do that. When do we decide? Next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, we're going to do the grand prize, and we'll announce it. We're going to bring all the sponsors in. And again, Whiting, Echo, MFC, who else? Who's the grand prize? The Nautilus reel, and Airflow has been given lines. So, support the guys that support us. And so we'll see you next week.